Hey everyone, if you're there, just give me 1 second. I'm trying to post a link. What's up? Hello. Hey everyone. Hey. Hi, just give me 1 second. I'm just gonna pull the shade down and then just chat a little bit about what's going on. Alexa, what day is it?
Today's date is Monday, January 26th, 2026.
Okay, so it's Monday, January 26th, 2026. Hey everyone, thanks for joining. I'm Brian. I'm gonna share the chart right now. Let's see if we can get that up. And ding, not that one, not that one. Change this to this. And trading view. And .com, ding, 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 ding. There it is. Just give me 1 second, guys. Just want to get this chart up so everybody can see it. Live streaming, share chart. There it is. Share, ching. Now we have something much more attractive than me to look at. How's everybody doing today? I hope you're doing well. Yeah, I just wanted to jump on here and try to help out the narrative and try to direct the conversation to a sensible place from where I see it has been going on StockTwits and other, Reddit and other places, and try to make a point or two. And by doing so, I just want to make sure that, let me close this, too much noise, ding, close, close, things won't close, that's fine. Okay, here's my live stream, there's the chart. Okay, so let's see, there's me, picture of me, in case anybody cares. All right, so what are we looking at today? Well, I have this theory that what we're looking at is the end of the $100 million at the market. And basically, what see this blue line, this big blue trend line, that's the day trend line from $1.66 from July 24th. We're trading under that trend line, and look at the VWAP. I mean, not the VWAP, the 9 EMA. Look where price has been trading. It's trading above it. Well, now it's going below it. When it goes down below again, right? We get price dumps here and starts trading in a band. This is the 5 minute. Let's look at the 1 minute. Right? Look at 1 minute. Now look at this, right? So if you put a price box on this, let's see, on this 1 minute chart, let's see where it's trading. Okay, let's put a price box on this stuff. Okay. So here, let's just use this. So where's the lowest point? Right there. And so you have price trading between 32.25 cents to not even 33.25 cents. So if anyone doesn't know this, and maybe if you can agree with me, disagree with me, but what we're seeing right here is distribution or dilution. The stock is they're dumping shares into the stock. They're, in my opinion, completing the $100 million at the market. They've been doing it for days or months. Look at now. Let's look at look at it again. Here's the same band, right? This is Friday. It's Friday. Let's put a price box on it. So, I'm a little frustrated. Obviously, you guys can probably tell. And the reason why is it comes from a good place. It comes from a place that, like, I want everyone to do well, but I also want to live in reality. We're dealing with Joel. Joel is, he doesn't care about, what we think of him or shareholder value, really. He's doing the best he can to get the science and the partnerships and the mergers and all that stuff underway. He says what he's saying, but at no time has this guy ever cared about our cash, So what's happening right now is, unless he does, right? So here's what we see. Here's another price. Whoops, I just moved that. Here's another one, right? This is Friday. So let's click on that. So that's Friday. That's today, right? This is Thursday. This is Thursday here, right? So this is, and then let's look at the month chart. Look at the month, guys. Watch this. Guys, when I say guys, I mean all sexes, genders, whatever you got, whatever you are, women, men, welcome. This is Pre-Trade Repeat. I'm Brian. If you know me, if you don't, welcome. Month, 1 month. There it is, 1 month. Okay, let me just do it like this. Let's take a look at the 1 month. Watch this, and I'm going to show you. If you don't know, I'm sure you guys know how to use ChatGPT. I'm using the Atlas browser, right? Watch this. So let me delete these. Delete. Okay. Now, yeah. So I'm on the Atlas browser. This is the monthly chart. So this is October, November, December, and January. The current month we're in today is January 26th. It's Monday. I've got about less than an hour to get ready and go to set. I'm working as an FBI agent on a TV show today. I can't tell you the name of it. Okay, so 33 and point. So it's at 0.3320. Historically, over the last 7 months, or basically 5 months, let's call it 5 months, this has been the ultimate low, has been 33.4, right? So this is not what you're seeing. What I'm seeing, basically, in my opinion, is this isn't really the low of the day. This is where price is going right now. But this is the monthly chart. That's what I wanted to get at. So this is what I wanted to show you. Okay, so you see the monthly chart, right? And this is the point I'm trying to make. I've been making the point on Stock Twits, and a lot of people get angry at me when I tell the truth or talk common sense to people. So, and if anybody knows, if you don't think that Joel dilutes the stock, and this is not to beat up Joel, this is to say this is a very, very bullish thing I'm about to provide for you. Okay, so let's look at there's the monthly chart, right? I don't want to show you, right, what we've been doing here. So there's Q1. We raised $73 million. How did we do that? On August 26th, Joel dumped 155 million shares into the general anxiety drug phase 2 top line results. On July 24th, the stock went to $1.66. Oh, where's July 24th? That's June. Oh, here. On July 24th, right? Stock goes to $1.66 right here at the top of the blue line, right? What does Joel do? Dumps millions and millions of shares into that. So what is Joel doing now and why? Well, here you have the $1 compliance deadline. That's April 26th. March 31st is the end of quarter 3 for 2026, right? And here we are on Friday, January 2nd, 2026. Earnings is coming up, guys. ChatGPT has it as February 13th. Webull has it as January 29th. So we don't even really know when we'll get earnings. Let's see. Let me ask. Let's see. What year did Incannex Healthcare or IXHL report the end of quarter 3 earning? I mean, the end of quarter 2 earnings. What date was the quarterly earnings reported last year for quarter 2 for IXHL? So I'm going to ask that real quick. This is the beauty of AI. I love it. If you don't use it, you're crazy. It's going to tell me in a second. Searching the web. Incannex Healthcare ticker reported its quarter 2 earnings on February 14th, Valentine's Day. That was the date the the company formally publicly released its fiscal second quarter financial results for the period ending December 31st, 2024. If you need the SEC filing link for that report or some whatever. Anyway, so let me ask you this. Now that I have the month chart up, and watch this. Watch this. This is the good part. If you guys will watch it now, and I'm going to jump back over to the YouTube live stream to take questions and comments in a second. I want to say hey to everybody that normally follows me. You know, this is uncomfortable to see the stock like this, but listen, there's a means to this. You know, so watch this now. By looking at this monthly chart and considering that at the end of the fiscal year, October 24th or 30th, whenever the 10K was reported, they stated that the IXHL had $69.5 million. That said, we had a report a week ago that stated that they had $70 million. With the quarterly burn rate of $9 million or more, would it be safe to assume that the at the market has been active after the 10K in October, reporting the earnings for the year, and is continually being used and is near completion, given that 69.5 million plus another quarterly burn rate of 9 million would equal to 78 million and a half, right? And then whatever other time has expired since then. So we're now looking at 80 million. How close could we possibly be to the end of the $100 million at the market capacity, ultimately killing the bear thesis and narrative and leaving only one direction for the stock? Please give me the facts and a thanks. So I'm going to ask ChatGPT that, right? And this is, I'm using Atlas, so it's looking at my charts. It shares the screen with me. I mean, you use ChatGPT Atlas if you didn't know. It does all the work for you. It literally does. It looks at the volume. It does the math. It does everything. So let's see. It says it's doing its little thing. It's saying I need to gather financial information, etc. So I'll focus on finding the most recent. It's looking at every website. It's going to come up with the thesis right now. Let me put my sweater on. A little cold. So basically, the bottom line is, if you have something to do, you want to jump out of the chat right now. I think the ATM, or the at the market for $100 million, is finally coming to an end, and they're slamming down the stock and hammering it out so that they can report it at the next earnings report. I'm not sure if they're legally allowed to do that, though, are they? Or can they only report earnings from the quarter that they're reporting earnings for? Because this would be another quarter, right? So it doesn't matter. They will still release an 8K. It's the most bullish thing. One of the most bullish things that a company can do is release an 8K or a PR saying $100 million at the market complete, no further dilution, without shareholder approval, without a vote, without a board vote, etc. Right? So give it a second. It's still running. Let me go back to the comments while I'm waiting. Imagine diluting halfway into compliance. Yes, yeah, because you're completing the dilution. You're completing the 100 million. Look, if you take away, the only reason why the market allows the stock to go down at this point is because there is an at the market. If the at the market is no longer there, where does the stock go? Which direction does the stock go? Deuce, Volt, or whatever your name is. Which direction does the stock go if there's no dilution narrative? Let's think. Could it be up? Right? Jeffrey says if Joel dilutes more into the good news, then he's a total schmuck. But Jeffrey, we know this already. We know this already. I just told you. He diluted every 8K, every announcement ever. Why would he not do it now? He doesn't care about our feelings, guys. He doesn't care. This guy does not care about what we think about him. Love you, buddy. Love you, Jeffrey. It's always good to see you. Why would they dilute at 34 when they could have diluted? Because he's a moron, right? Right. No, because they did dilute at 80 at 100. Nail 16. I don't know if you're new or if you're just newly invested. If you are, welcome. But on August 26th, the stock was trading at 80 to 84 cents. And it took they released the general anxiety results for PSX001, the synthetic psilocybin drug. The stock started to shoot at 4:30 in the morning. What did Joel do? He did this. He dumped 155 million shares over the course of the next couple of weeks, nonstop. This is why the stock is here. And not only that, he took up to $80 million of our cash off the table when he only needed 40. Okay. So why do you guys think that he wouldn't do it again? Why? If somebody robs you like 5 times in a row, do you still invite them in your house? I mean, come on, guys, right? He's doing it. He's completing it at the market. And you got to understand, but I don't understand, but this time it's good. This time it's good because you're asking yourselves, guys, what is going to take the stock into compliance? Well, end of phase 2 meeting. Is that happening? No, right? That's not happening. Partnership, merger, any of that stuff happening? No. He's more signaling that, oh, we're going to go it alone. We got a lot of cash. I'm just going to keep taking the shareholders' cash off the table. And the more cash of theirs that I take, he's telling you what he's doing. I'm going to take their cash and make myself a moat with the cash. And so now you have to I have more negotiating. The more cash of my shareholders that I have, then the more negotiating power that I have. That's what he's saying to us, right? That's what's happening right now. So let's go back to what ChatGPT thinks about what I just said. Here it is. Here are the facts we can actually anchor to filings, and then what you can and cannot safely infer from them. What IXHL reported, hard facts. The $69.5 million number you're referencing to is tied to at-the-market financing activity in the quarter ended September 30th, 2025. That's the year. In the Form 10Q for the quarter ended September 30th, filed November 14th, 2025, IXL reported cash and equivalents $73.28 million at September 30th, up from $15 million June 30th. Net cash used in operating for activities, $9.16 million for the quarter. Proceeds, that's where I get the quarterly burn rate. Proceeds from share issuance, $69.465 million, and share issuance cost, $2.28 million for net cash provided by financing activities, which is way too much. You're paying $2 million for some guy to dilute your stock. $67 million. Okay. So the management explicitly states, you guys remember a week ago, they said they had $70 million. How do you have $70 million if you had 67? There's your argument. If you had $67 million, how do you have $70 million? Management explicitly states the increase was due to share issuance under our ATM. So yes, the ATM was active in that reported quarter, and it was active at a very meaningful size. The at-the-market capacity was expanded by up to an additional $100 million in July 2025. An 8K dated July 24th says IXHL filed a prospective supplement to increase capacity. We all know this, up to $100 million. Okay. The more recent over 70 million cash statement is real, but it does not disclose ATM usage. I hate this about AI. It doesn't want to infer anything or give you any information. So it's not, of course, it's always going to revert back to you can't trust anything you believe without a filing. We know that. That's not why we're here today. On January 14, 2026, press release furnished by 8K says they enter 2026 with more than 70 million in cash and runway well into 2027. And then it says your burn math versus what the filings actually show. Your arithmetic is right. 69.5 million, 9 million equals $78.5 million, guys. So $78.5 million. And that was days ago, right? But the key point is this: 69.5 million figure is not cash on hand. In the 10Q, it's presented as gross proceeds from share issuance, while cash on hand was 73.2. Also, your assumed quarterly burn rate of $9 million lines up closely with that of the company reported in the quarter. Cash used for operating activities, 9.16 million. Can we safely assume the at the market has been continually used since the 10K? Not safely based on what you cited. Here's why. All right, let's see what they say. Can we safely assume that? I could be wrong. Here's why. We have confirmed, disclosed at the market raised in quarter, and we also have a later statement saying 70 million, but we do have, in what you referenced later, a later quarterly filing showing additional at the market proceeds after September 30th, right? So regardless of what Joel is telling you, you're all believing he's still diluting the stock. I mean, what else do I have to say to prove this to everyone? It's totally possible they used it after September 30th, but the 70 million cash line alone does not prove ongoing at the market sales. How close are they to end the $100 million at the capacity? We can bound it, but we cannot nail it to an exact remaining number without a later disclosure. They always say it's so annoying, but they're going to assume. Let's see what they say. What we can say from filings: as of July 24th, they disclosed $63.5 million gross ATM sales. In the quarter ending September 30th, they disclosed $69.5 million of gross proceeds from share issuance from the ATM. Important nuance: the July 24, 2025 filing says they increased capacity by 100 million. We know this. So even if you assume the quarter's gross all drew from the additional 100 million, you can still cannot conclude that the entire need, because the total available capacity includes what existed before the expansion. And there was bottom line is the bear thesis angle, facts only framing. Fact, they demonstrated the ability to raise large amounts via the ATM. Fact, they reported 73.2 million in cash on September 30th. Fact, they later publicly stated 70 million cash entering 2026, $9 million later, right? Not a fact can be concluded that the ATM has been, they're saying that I can't say that it's been continuously used, sure, but we can assume if they told us they had 69 million, they have a quarterly burn rate of 9 million, and it's almost another quarter is over, you could assume that they must have raised another $9 million minimum. That would put it at 80 million, right? And then you're going to see what we've been seeing for the last month, because remember, we're in a new quarter, and you're going to see that what we've been seeing for the last month is the completion. I mean, obviously it's a theory. I can't prove it. Look at the monthly chart, guys. Look at the volume on the monthly chart. Watch this. Let me ask this. Please look at the volume on the monthly chart and tell me what it looks like. So the point I'm trying to make here is I'm actually bullish on this whole situation. Now, do I like, you guys know I don't like Joel. No, he's just taking all our money, right? But it's a means to an end, because once the $100 million at the market AKPR comes out that it's complete, the stock goes up. It has to go up. It's got nowhere else to go. So if this person that I do not like is completing the at the market in the last 3 weeks of this month, then it would make perfect sense. He doesn't have a compliance strategy. This is the only compliance strategy, is to complete the 100 million out the market. And if you're in his shoes, which compliant wouldn't you do it? If all you're going to do is make more money, you're going to say no. Say, hey Joel, listen, we don't have a partnership set up. End of phase 2 data could be months out, and we have a deadline to come into compliance by April 20th. What are we going to do? We could complete the $100 million at the market, release an 8K saying that it's complete, and that will immediately re-rate the stock, and the market itself will re-rate the stock because the bear thesis will be killed. There's no dilution. The stock only has one way to go, right? And by the way, Joel, if we take that strategy and use that strategy because we don't have anything else, right? And because you're using shareholder value and you're taking so much of shareholders' cash and you're bullying your negotiation process with it, saying, look at all the cash we have. We don't have to take the first offer. We might go it alone, etc. Right? And C, that's A, B, and C, you get to take more cash and have more money. What do you think he's going to do? Of course he's going to finish at the market. He's going to take more of our cash, have more negotiation power, and the stock is going to go into compliance as soon as he reports that the at the market's complete, which could be any day now. That's why the stock is getting slammed down, not because the market's killing us, not because because God doesn't love us, not because of anything except that this duck is a duck. He's been a duck the whole time. He's a duck. So this is what ChatGPT says. On your 1 monthly chart for IXHL, the volume reading shows is 113 million shares. What that looks like in plain English, a huge volume spike month for a stock like IXHL. 100 million plus shares in a single month is not normal routine trading. It usually means a major event-driven period like heavy distribution, accumulation, a financing window, ATM type flow, a big catalyst, or a liquidity scramble where a lot of hands are rotating. One caveat, TradingView is showing me the number 113 million, but I can see the full set of prior monthly volume bars from this text-only page capture, so I can't precisely compare it to your 6 to 12 months. Still, 113 million on the monthly is clearly outsized. Guys, this is the completion of the at the market. You have to ask yourself, you're left with one question. I'll say this, I'll shut up, and I'll go to the comments. You have one question left. When he completes the at the market, and if and why, if this is the strategy to bring the stock into compliance, is this ducks? Does this guy have enough integrity to allow the stock to go to compliance into the dollars range when the market awards it with a re-rate by removing the dilution narrative? Do you think this guy is that guy? He's a stand-up guy that's going to do that and say, guys, we now have, $87 million. The $100 million at the market is complete, and no further dilution. Is that what's going to, or is he just going to access the shelf for another offering and just continually to take more cash off our table? That's the question for the company that you're invested in. So that's the gamble right now. So when I'm on StockTwits and I see this nonsense, and just never-ending nonsense about what they're going to do and how the stock's going to be income, this and that. This is what's happening, people. Like, live in reality, okay? So the question is, do we have the CEO that can figure out anything else to do besides just ripping cash off the table, right? In this situation, it could be good. If he's the type of person that completes the $100 million at the market, releases an 8K, and saying it's complete, and tells the market there's no further dilution, then the stock will re-rate. That's the compliance strategy, not end of phase 2 data, not commencement of phase 3 partnerships, mergers, not rheumatoid arthritis, not PSX001. The compliance strategy is taking away the dilution narrative. That's it out of me. That's all I wanted to jump on here and say and try to prove to you guys. Do the work yourself. Do the numbers, okay? Now we live in a world. You have to use AI to your advantage. You know what I mean? Let's see what you guys are saying. So I said Deuce, that went to Nails. Joel is Joel. He can do anything. Yeah. Last year, it took a deep dive. Not last year. Every 8K ever. A lot of guys, if you've all been trading for years, most likely, there are CEOs that do what this guy does, and there are normal CEOs, right? Unfortunately, when you're in a penny stock biotech, This is how you make money and survive. But he should have stopped. He took $40 million more than he should have taken away from us. That's why the stock is at 34 cents. And now he's got to fix it. And the only way to fix it is to complete the robbery and to finish the robbery and leave the bank with the money. What's up, Ryan? It's good to see you. Ryan, I've been watching all your stuff, and I really appreciate all your due diligence on StockTwits. 44% down on 106. Yeah, man, I'm down like $24,000. I feel you. Okay. Joel can just send news that he will buy shares. Right. He has the buyback. Why hasn't he used it? Because he's completing that to market first, right? Obviously, look at the monthly chart, guys. Look at the chart. Look at the volume. Do the math. The guy's taking our money. And you know why he's completing it now? Because he knows this is a strategy. This is a strategy. This is a strategy to bring the stock into compliance. You remove the dilution narrative. There's no way for the stock to go down any further. The company's valuation is at like 56 million without shares, right? So and the cash value of the company, who knows what it is today? I don't even know. It's been going down so much. Why don't they, wait, what does it say? Shorts, daily Joe can just send news that he'll buy the shares, company buyback, or some type of positive. Why don't they? What? Because he's a duck. That's why he's a duck. Because if you notice, I mean, look, guys, again, somebody comes in your house, takes everything in your house, steals from you, takes your money, takes your laptops, takes your leather jackets, takes your, the most expensive jewelry, takes your golf clubs, takes everything you got. And you invite him over again for the next 8K. And then he comes over again for the next 8K. And every time he does it again, he does it again and again and again and again. I guarantee you he diluted the fast track announcement. The FDA fast track 3, December 3rd, he dumped millions of shares into that. Okay. The other news that came out last week, this guy cannot stop taking our money, right? So do I like him? I will like him if he can, if there's a means to an end, if he can stop this and stop the at the market and complete it and release the PR and say no further dilution. And then the market finally rewards the stock with the re-rate it deserves. Yes. But do I expect him to do that? How can you expect a thief that takes money over and every time he says a word, he's taking money? I guarantee you, he's the only reason why he's doing these podcasts is so that he can take more money. You don't see the rise in the stock prices every time a podcast comes out. You don't see the rise in the stock price on December 3rd, the FDA fast track. You don't see when the clinical advisory board was announced for PSX 001. You don't see any increase in the stock. Why do you think that is? Because he's dumping millions of shares and he uses every fucking announcement to steal our money, to take our cash off the table. So that said, intelligence is the ability to adapt to your environment. You only have one option: sell your fucking shares, which I hope you don't do, or you adapt to your environment and do the math. Do the math. Look at the monthly chart. Look at the volume. Do the math and realize that the at the market completion is the compliance strategy. That's the compliance strategy. So this guy is taking so much of my money at this point. Do you think that I'm going to leave now before I get my money back? No, I'm waiting for there's going to be an 8K. It's going to come out. $100 million at the market completions. Curvature securities. That's who's doing it. $100 million at the market complete. No further dilution without shareholder approval or board approval or some shit like that. If they have that announcement, the stock will instantly go into the dollars range where it belongs. The only reason it's here where it is at 34 cents is Joel. The stock doesn't need to be here. He took 80 million when he only needed 40, right? So do the math. That puts the stock at double the stock price it is. So it should be trading at 70 or 80 right now, right? Anyway, I'm sorry if I'm getting upset. I'm just so tired of the stupidity and people just pretending that everything's okay and that none of this has happened. Guys, it not only has it happened, we have evidence. Do you think that they'll have a compliance strategy after it's complete and after earnings? I think that is the compliance strategy. What we have to ask ourselves, and this is the hard ask, and this is the hard part. Well, what time is it? I got to go. The hard part is this. Given the fact that a duck is a duck is a duck is a duck, right? Someone steals from you, they're going to steal from you again. 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 And that's all that this guy has done. Is this scumbag going to complete the at the market? And then everyone's going to get excited because the 8K is going to come out at 6 o'clock in the morning, $100 million at the market complete. And then is this guy going to release another 8K an hour later that says an S3 filing, a shelf registration filing for another 100 million and create more dilution and then reverse split, right? That's the question you want to ask yourself. When you love him so much. I love Joel. Joel's so smart. He's great. He's awesome. Is he really? So these are our options. They bring the stock into compliance by completing the at the market. And then we wait like with anxiety to hope to God that this bank robber doesn't release an S3 filing 20 minutes later that says that they've also accessed the other 450 million shares still on the shelf, and they're going to do another at the market raise, right? That's the big question for yourself as an investor, because you're invested in the stock. This is the thing. I like, there's no reason for me, honestly, to even be here anymore. I'm in complete denial because the reality is this guy's personality has shown us over and over and over and over again that he could care less about shareholder value. He could care less about anything but taking our money off the table. That's all he can do, right? He just wants our cash. And the more cash he has, the more negotiating power he has. He does not give up about our opinion of him. So most likely, unless there's some miracle from God or something like that, he's going to complete the at the market, do another shelf offering, and then do a reverse split. And he's just going to take all our cash. This guy just takes our cash. So, I'm hoping that he doesn't do another S3 filing immediately, and he allows the stock for once to go up. You're talking about a guy who the stock could have ran to $4, $5, $6 a share on August 26th with the general anxiety drug. But instead, he's so fucking greedy that he threw 155 million shares into the float before it even hit 95 cents. So this is what you're invested in. This is the question. But listen, I hope you all hold, because I'm holding. I don't have a choice right now. Like I said, it's more denial than it is that I believe in the CEO. It's honestly time for a new CEO. But let me just read these and then I'll go. What does he mean by dumping shares? I don't know what that means. Dumping shares means diluting the stock. It means, I don't get it. Well, Joe don't buy shares private for the company. He's supposed to do a buyback. He has a $20 million share repurchase program. Normally, you complete an ATM and then use your share repurchase program. Good question. Are they stealing the funds to support the company and funding others supporting the pockets? They're funding operations. This is what penny stock biotechs do. They take money from shareholders. So at some point, you have to also say to yourself, this is what I invested in. Unless you're day trading it with tight stops, which I should have. That would be dumb move, not an asshole move. No reason for him to dilute more. Once he reaches compliance, he would lose investor confidence. Johnny, I hope so, man. I hope so. But Johnny, let me ask you this. Given that, what can you look at in his character up until now, up until today, that would tell you that he has the character to do that, to bring it into compliance and not to. Would it be a stupid move? Well, would dumping 155 million shares into August 26th PSX 001 phase 2 results at 94 cents before it even hits $1? Would you consider that a stupid move, Johnny? So if it reaches $1, sell half and then keep the other. Yeah, of course. I just want to get the fuck out of the stock until we get a new CEO. I'll be honest with you at this point. But they removed X comments for a reason. Every investor are pissed. Yeah. But that's it for me today, guys. That's why I wanted to jump on here. It's never financial advice. You got to, but you have to ask yourself the question, like, who is our CEO? And, you know, there is a strategy for compliance. It's most likely this. He's going to kill it. He's going to end the at the market. They're taking more of our cash. This was supposed to be a bullish chat or feed. I like what Johnny says, though. It would be a dumb move. You know, he would lose investor confidence. But also he has been losing investor confidence since 2023 when he left and moved to the NASDAQ, and he destroyed, and those people lost so much money. And he's just doing it again. He's just recycling and taking cash off the table. And unfortunately, we live in a world where the SEC doesn't enforce anything. And companies like this are allowed to do this over and over and over again. I do not expect Joel to ever do anything for the shareholders that benefits them, you know? So that said, either one or two things are going to happen. Most likely it's going to go like this. Either they get a readout first or they end at the market first. If they get the readout and then end at the market, they're going to access the shelf for another ATM. If they end the ATM before the readout, hopefully the guy has the common sense to like pump his brakes for 5 minutes and not get another shelf offering ready. Anyway, that's it, guys. Thanks so much for joining me. Sorry I'm so angry and upset, but I always appreciate your support. Do me a favor, share it on Twitter. I got banned from Twitter for going after Eli Lilly. So they suspended my account. So share my link on Twitter if you can, and you know, like, subscribe, all that stuff. Thanks so much. Have a great day. Thanks, guys. Also, fast forward through the first few minutes. Let everyone know, fast forward through the first few minutes because I was getting set up. Anyway, thanks again. Always good to talk to you guys. Appreciate you. End stream. How do we end it? There it is. Bye, guys.